can decide where you'd like to have your arms, maybe reaching up overhead, alongside your body, or even placing the palms on your belly. And let your thighs relax. Closing your eyes as you breathe in and out through your nose and send that breath all the way down to your low belly and low back. Taking about 5 more breaths here. You can straighten, stretch your arms and your legs, reaching out from your fingertips down to your toes. And we'll keep our left leg out in front of us. Bend your right knee in towards your belly. Keep some length into that left leg as we stretch a little bit through those hip flexors. And we'll carry this over into a twist. So your right knee will cross over your body towards the left side of your mat, maybe using your left hand to guide it along. Reach your right arm out to the side and see if you can keep your right shoulder blade pressing into the floor. I really want you to feel the stretch in this pose. So I'm trying to move my right shoulder and my right knee in opposite directions, like I'm pulling both in opposition. And really getting that stretch from the shoulder down the side of the obliques and all the way down that right leg. You'll probably feel it in your lower back as well. Coming all the way back through to center, bend into your left knee so your foot can be flat on the floor. And I'm just going to grab a hold of my strap here, taking a little hamstring stretch through that right leg. So you can bring your strap to the ball of the foot. You can also just hold on to the back of your right thigh. And I like to hold further down the strap so that my upper arms don't really have to do too much. And I can let them relax on the floor. And even just by flexing the foot, you might feel a good amount of sensation through the back of the leg. And maybe you want to keep that left knee bent to make this a bit more restorative, or you can intensify by straightening your left leg out in front of you. And you can absolutely have some bend in that right knee. The leg does not need to be perfectly straight. I'm trying to minimize the amount of strength and effort you're using in this pose. And we'll open this up to the side. So I'm going to transfer my strap into my right hand. And we're just going to open that right leg out. Try to keep your left hip planting and pushing down into the mat. Even the left shoulder is anchoring down into the floor. Not here for too long. One more deep breath. And then let's cross this over. So you're going to bring your right leg all the way up and then all the way back to how we were in that laying twist. And same thing, but this time our right leg stays straight. Reach your right arm out to the side and try to keep your right shoulder blade down on the mat. And maybe that right leg will be hovering off of the floor. Maybe you're able to drop it down. You can kind of play until you find the sensation that feels the best to you. I'll give you one last option if you'd like. You can also bend your left knee and use your right hand to grab a hold of your left foot. So you're also getting a big quad stretch here. This is cat pulling its tail. And it's that same idea of pulling and reaching in opposition. And let's carefully release the pose, bend into both knees, come back through to center, and just pull your thighs in towards your belly here to reset. Before we do this to the other side, maybe rocking a little bit, massaging your lower back. And we'll begin by keeping our left knee in towards us and extending the right leg out to the mat. Press your shoulders away from your ears and find your reclined twist. Your left knee will cross over. Trying to stack our left hip on top of our right one and moving that left shoulder away from the left hip. Lower belly is hugging in and up. Breathing in deep. You'll release the twist. Bend into your right knee so you can flatten the foot to the floor and use your strap or just the hold of your hands to find that first hamstring stretch, extending the left leg up towards the sky. I'm really trying to flex through that left foot so that we're really also stretching at the back of our ankle and getting into the calves. I know for me this has been really, really tight lately. So if you walk a lot, or depending on the kind of shoes that you wear, this can really be an area that we hold a lot of tension in. And you can stay as you are, or you straighten your right leg to intensify a little bit. So let's open this out to the side. So I'm going to transfer my strap into my left hand, and I'm going to let my left leg drop open, pushing a little bit into my right sit bone, my right hip and shoulder, so that I'm not completely rolling over onto one side. Both hips and both collarbones are facing up. Coming into our twist, maybe cat pulling its tail, you can lift that left leg through to center and then cross it over the body. So find your twist first, and then maybe you can also bend your right knee and grab a hold of your right foot with your left hand. I'm still trying to roll my left shoulder down and keep my chest facing up, still moving in opposition my left shoulder and my left hip and leg. It's definitely a very sensational pose. One more big, deep belly breath. And you can bend into the legs, release the hold of the strap if you were using it, come back onto your back and just pull your knees in towards your chest. Rocking a little bit side to side, releasing the sequence. We're just going to come up to take a seat so you can hold on to the back of your thighs and just rock yourself up. We'll come into a straddle fold. So opening the legs as wide as this is appropriate to you. We want to be able to tilt our pelvis forward slightly and stay lifted up through our spine. And we'll just come into a side bend first. You can absolutely have a bit of a bend in the knees. They never need to be perfectly straight. We're going to reach our left arm up and over. Big side body stretch. And coming all the way up, moving to the other side. Right arm extends up and over. Let's do it once more on each side. This time go ahead and point through your toes. Really see if you can stretch through the front, the top of your foot. Roll that left hip and left shoulder back. And lifting up, switching sides. Coming all the way up. This time we'll forward fold over towards our right leg. I'm making this a passive forward fold, meaning I'm not pushing, I'm not worrying about having a flat back. I'm just letting gravity get me into the edge of the pose, what makes the most sense for me right now. Minimal effort, optimal relaxation. So can you soften a little bit more, letting go of tension, even in your jaw, your facial muscles. Notice if you're tightening through your neck or your shoulders. Walk your hands in to lift the chest up. We'll go do that to the other side. So facing over now towards our left leg and just melting into it. Always staying with our breath, lifting all the way back up. And one last pose from here. We're just going to fold directly into center. And again, I'm not pushing, I'm not pulling. Push your hands into the floor, start to lift yourself up nice and slow. And we'll set ourselves up for deer pose. So this is 2 90-degree angles with the legs. So I'm going to bring facing the front of the mat. I'm going to find a 90-degree angle bend in my right knee, aligning my right knee with my hip. And same thing with the left leg. My left knee is in line with my hip, finding that 90-degree bend. We'll start by folding forward, and then we'll go into the backwards version of the pose. So this is almost like a pigeon stretch. Think of pushing that left hip forward, and then see if you can melt on down. And maybe using your hands, making a little bit of a pillow so that you can fold. Getting that first big stretch into our outer hip, into the right glute. Two more breaths here. And use your hands pushing into the floor to lift up. Now this time, press that left hip back and walk your hands back in a diagonal. So instead of walking towards the back of the mat, I'm kind of walking out at an angle here. And see if you can push that hip down until you get a nice stretch through the inner thigh. And you can stay up on your hands. I like it up on the palms. Some people prefer to come down onto the forearms or even lay all the way back. I find I get the best sensation just from up here. And we'll walk our hands in, and we'll go do this right away to the other side. So I'm just going to lift my knees up, so pivoting from the heels, and then I'm just going to face the back of my mat. So my left knee is in line with my hip, my shin is roughly parallel to the back of that mat, and you might need to readjust yourself a little bit here so that you have that 90-degree angle through both legs. And now this time, push that right hip bone forward and begin to melt on down, almost like a little pigeon pose stretch. Maybe you stay up just on your horns. You don't need to go all the way down. Just as long as you're getting a nice opening through that left hip. And as with every pose that we're doing, it's just, can you relax a little bit more into it? Two more deep breaths, soften your shoulder blades. Push into the hands, lift on up. And for a second variation of the pose, this time your right hip is going to push back as you walk your hands and your chest back at an angle until you get a nice opening through that right thigh and right hip. So big internal rotation. Let's walk our hands in, lifting back up through to center and just floating those knees. Let's cross at the ankles. We're just going to come into a tabletop pose. Palms under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Just take a few rounds of cat and cow from here, spreading the fingertips wide. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, reverse. And keep going here. Really stretching through the front and back body. And bringing some flexibility through the upper back, mid back, and lower back. Take one more. And back to neutral. Let's come into melting heart or our puppy pose. So keep your hips stacked over your knees. Walk your hands out and just melt your chest down to the mat. And you can bend your elbows so that the forearms are resting on the floor. It's really tempting to completely drop the belly. See if you can tone it back a little bit so you're not overly curving through your low back. Just because we are trying to send the majority of the sensation of this pose into the shoulders, the upper back, and into our chest. So even with your breath, when you inhale, can you feel your rib cage expand front to back and side to side? Take one more full deep breath here. And we'll come forward into Sphinx, so stretching a little bit more through the upper body. So just rest your hips down on the mat, come up onto your forearms, and lift up through your chest, Push into the tops of the feet, reach your tailbone back towards your heels. You are toning the abdominals back a little bit here. So almost like you're pushing pubic bone down into the floor and using this to find a little bit more lift and pushing head of the arm bones back, so shoulders rolling back. More happening in this pose than meets the eye, because we need to be really careful to protect our lower back. And let's release. So totally optional, either go just to tabletop pose, or you can do downward dog. This is the only time we'll be doing downward dog. If that feels too like strengthening and activating for you, then leave it out. For me, it feels like a really yummy stretch, so it does feel appropriate in my body. But for some people, it's just a little too much, so you can just stay in tabletop or just here for a moment. And bringing the knees down to the mat, let's find a low lunge. Right foot steps forward to the top of the mat. Make sure your knee is over top of your ankle here. And start with your fingertips on the floor, framing that front foot. So melting the hips down, rolling your shoulders back. And this is your option 1. Option 2 is to add a little bit of a twist by bringing your right hand to your thigh and pushing your hand into the leg as you twist the chest open towards the right. So rolling that right shoulder back. This is option 2, and option 3 is to add a quad stretch to this by maintaining the twist, but also grabbing a hold of your left foot with your right hand. Keep pushing down into your big right toe here. And without a slingshot action, if you have the quad stretch, carefully let the foot come back down. From the twist, face forward once more. And let's step back. Before we go do the same thing to the other side, let's find a little toe squat here. So curling the toes under and just resting your hips on top of your heels. This is a really challenging pose for me. The past 5 years or so, I have arthritis in my big left toe. So I have almost no mobility, but this is good for me to not push through it too much that there's pain, but to try to preserve as much range of motion as I can. Take another big deep breath here. And we'll find our low lunge on the second side. So this time our left foot will step forward, aligning our knee over the top of the ankle and starting in that first variation where we just frame the front foot. So fingertips to the mat, letting gravity pull our hips forward and down. Option 2 is to add a twist, left hand onto your left thigh, pushing against it so that you're really rotating from that mid-back. Still pushing into that big left toe. And you can add on with or without the quad stretch. So from the twist, you would just be bending into your right knee, grabbing a hold of the foot to pull it in. So remember, this is for relaxation also, so do whichever variation gives you minimal effort while also a nice amount of stretch. Carefully releasing the hold of that back foot. Instead of doing a toe squat, we're going to do an ankle stretch. So come back to a kneeling position, sitting on your heels, but this time you're just going to walk your hands back and see if you can lift knees and shins off the mat so that you're stretching through the top of the foot. And let's Let's release. Let's bring our legs out in front of us. We're going to lower all the way down onto our backs. And we'll set ourselves up for a banana stretch, one of my favorite poses in the world. So you can bring your hips a little more over towards the right, and then your ankles and your shoulders will go over to the left. So you're finding like this banana crescent shape with your body. I like to hold on to my elbows up overhead, and then I also cross my right ankle over the top of the left. What we don't want is to be lifting that hip up. Keep pushing that right hip and right shoulder down, so the entire front of your body is facing up towards the sky, but you're just getting a big side body stretch from your right elbow down the arm, down the side of your waist, and maybe a little bit into the outer hip as well.